I'd like to welcome our past president and a very good friend of mine, Sharon Green-Gold.
Hello, can you all hear me? Yes. All right, so this is the deal. I'm the last thing between you and goodbye. I need for you to act like you're paying attention. I'm going to give you my disclaimer. First, I want to thank OneSource for sponsoring me. How many of you all have OneSource in your hospitals? Very good. Those that don't, you may want to look into it. I'm here to tell you that my Joint Commission surveyor wanted us over in Decon. She was very adamant about my team being able to pull up an IFU on how to clean something on the spot right away. And the fact that that's within our tracking system kind of saved us because we were able to pull that up and prove that we did know how to clean that instrument. Secondly, I want to say this is an interactive session where I need you to talk back. It's kind of like preaching on Sunday morning. I need to hear the amen. Amen. Or answer the question if there's a question. Don't just sit there and look at me crazy, because I'm told that we have nurses from the OR, AST members, be they surgical techs and or surgical first assistants, and then we have sterile processing professionals. Therefore, do we have any ICPs? Got ICP. We got everybody in here together, and we're going to talk about some things. I can talk about things. I've been doing this for 30 years. So I've been there, not back when we first were still boiling instruments, but almost, up to where we are now. And I know what we're getting ready to talk about. It's like the elephant in the room. And sometimes you have to talk about the elephant, but as they say in the world, the best way to eat an elephant is one piece at a time. Gonna take you a while, but you'll be able to eat that elephant. I may say, or we may say some things that hurts the SPD's feelings, it hurts the OR's feelings, it hurts the ICP, it hurts the surgical tech, but this is the deal. A hit dog will holler. You know, if you throw a rock and hit a dog, only the one that gets hit hollers. The rest of them just stand there. Don't be the hit dog. If we say something and your feelings is hurt, keep it to yourself. Okay? Just take that home, and Monday, when you go to work, say, that girl was down here, she talked a bunch of stuff, and I can't stand her. Do all of that on Monday. But in here, keep it to yourself. Don't be the hit dog. Because then we're going to know. Because usually, we don't get excited about things that are good. We only get excited about things that are bad. As long as I say the SPD is the greatest thing since apple pie, y'all gonna be just happy. Woo, amen. The first time I say that we could do better, y'all are just lazy, because somebody goes, wait a minute, I'm not lazy. Okay? So don't tell me you're not lazy. Just work with me here. And I'm gonna be able to get through this particular presentation. Then you're gonna be able to get on with your Saturday. And this is my first time in the Boston area. I'm gonna get to go and see something. It's a win-win. Can we talk? Now I thought about this because I really did love Joan Rivers, and she always talked about the fact, can we talk? Can we talk? And she'd just tell you some stuff. Wasn't always the most popular, but we laughed about it. Some of us did better, some of us didn't. It's gonna be the same way today. Can we talk strategies and communication techniques? So one of my young people, because I happen to have I have all generations in my sterile processing department, put my PowerPoint together and it does all kinds of strange things. So she's only 20, so you know, right? She's in there pushing all the buttons. Explain who compromises the surgical team. Explain some of the perceptions. I can't give them all to you today. We'll be here for a week. The OR staff may have of the CS-SPD team and vice versa, to share some strategies on communication, collaboration techniques with the team, and practice some of these techniques a little bit together. I almost feel like Mark is messing with my program. So the first thing is, who are the surgical team members? And I would say that Damien did a good job this morning because he put it out there. And for a long time, we didn't know who the surgical team was, including those of us on the team. We didn't know we were on the team. Right? That's the reality. For years, SPD did not know they were on the surgical team. I don't know what team we thought we belonged to. We were very adamant to say, I'm not washing dishes. But we didn't know what team we belonged to. And we belong to the surgical team. And so for me, when I've done my research and I think about things, this is the surgical team. We're the bottom, we're the heart of this surgical team. Let me just say it, or, I'm sorry. If we don't give you instruments, you can't do a case. And this is what I found in 30 years. You're not coming down there and washing out one instrument for that case. This is what I realized after a lot of research. That when we say, woo, we need a Da Vinci set, and we say it's not ready, the OR team says, oh, that's okay, we'll be right there. We're going to fix our own tray. Now, days back, this dates how old I am, the nurses in the OR used to wash their own instruments and set up their own trays. It's amazing how you can forget that part and let it go. But there was a time when the nurses set up the trays themselves. They cleaned their own instruments. You would not know that today the way sometimes some of our teams act. That we do have some nurses that are still working that remember doing that particular process. But the bottom line is that we're the basics. We're the ones that have to get these instruments together. The process is to clean, make sure it's working, reassemble, and sterilize it in some process for the patient. That is SPD all day long. So we're the bottom. And when we get a tray together, then we're able to work to the next level. And the next level is our OR. And OR is part of the surgical team. In my hospital, we call peri-op services. Peri-op services has SPD, OR, endo, PACU, outpatient. It's a big team. And then for this triangle, ICP pulls it all together. Because I'm here to tell you that an infection control department that does not know what is going on in sterile processing and or the OR in doing you no good. Because they're the ones that can help you get what you need in your department. See, you bring the ICP down and say, we're being a little crazy. We don't have a dryer for drying our instruments, and so we've started hanging them on poles and hanging them around the room like dirty clothes. The ICP gonna go to the C-suite and say, you know what, we need to help these folks out. Because this is not acceptable. So ICP needs to know more than that report you give them every month that says, we didn't have any positive biologicals. We only did 10 IUSS. You know, sometimes you're lying on the report. But they don't know if they don't come down and look around. I told my ICP, because she knew, I said, you better come down there and see what I'm telling you. Because I can tell you anything. It's my report that I sent you through electronic email. You don't know. We may not even be running a test every day. You don't know what we're doing. But this is the bottom line. When the Joint Commission comes, they drag the ICP person with them to SPD. And if you're going to stand at the Joint Commission survey and look at me while I'm trying to answer a question and act like you know what's going on, you better have been down there. Because you're going to get thrown under the bus. I'm just saying, you know, basically, back to, can we talk? This is just being real. You have to know what's going on in your sterile processing department. I have a sterile processing department, and I'm not saying it can't be done. But when you tell me that you don't do not one IUSS ever, you lie. Something goes wrong somewhere at least once in 365 days. But I've had people tell me, oh, no, we've gone to completely zero. I said, wow. The hospital I'm at, when I went there, they were doing 250 at least a month. and we're down to 40. We can't get past 40, you know why? Because I'm doing vendor trays, and the vendor always brings 4 sets and 1 and 2 pieces that he has to have on every case. He don't have but them 2 pieces. So I've got to wash those 2 pieces for the next 3 cases. And I'm not happy about it. It's not fair to my patient that for the first patient, the pieces were all cleaned and ready, and for the next 3 patients, there's 2 pieces we're going to clean in between an IUSS. That isn't fair. But we have to do that. So I own that. But it's not our norm, because we spend the money, because the Joint Commission says if you're going to do 7 eyes, you should have 7 eye sets. I think that's fair because I could be the 7th patient. Everybody can't go at 7:30, even though patients are becoming more knowledgeable. Am I right? And when they go to their doctor, they're like, I need to be 7:30. And the doctor said, why? Because their stuff is clean and ready at 7:30. They know. See, for a long time, they didn't know who we were. But now they know. They've heard that at 7:30, everything about is good. The doctor had a sleep. He slept all night. The OR team is fresh. The instruments are sterile, but it all bets off after 7:30. So the poor doctor has a hard time because some patients, I know because I've been the patient, he said, I can't do you till 9:30. I said, well, about another day. And I say that because I have been the patient. So understand when I talk, I'm not just talking because I was past president. I'm not just talking because I'm a manager of sterile processing. I'm talking because I've been the patient. I've had both knees totally replaced. I've had an anterior cervical, posterior cervical, I'm a breast cancer survivor. It seems like when they need some extra patients at my hospital, I show up. So OR, ICP, and then the CSPD, we are the team of surgical services. So if you don't learn anything else today, there's a few things you're going to learn. This is the first thing. You are all a part of the same team. Now, here's a shocker. We work for the patient. I know y'all thought we worked for Dr. Boo Boo, but we don't. I want Dr. Boo Boo to be happy. Because if he's relatively happy, he can do decent surgical work, and that patient gets a good outcome. But I don't work for Dr. Boo Boo. I work for the patient. That's who's paying the bill. I know this because none of the doctors at my hospital bring any money with them to the hospital. They bring I want list, I need list, but no money. Right? So, no. You're part of the team. You're part of the team. And we have to have certain things there for the team to work. I have told doctors, I've told OR techs, I've told the nurses in the OR, this is the deal. Until the instruments show up in the room and you've checked them and they're correct, you just people with gloves on. Your title don't matter. So you need me. Because I'm bringing the instruments. You know, I watch Grey's Anatomy, and Dr. Bailey and all of them get around the field. They're ready, and they're standing there, they're doing some surgery. They're getting ready for surgery, and the camera pans over, and they'll say the special word, pass the scalpel. And into the picture comes a knife handle with a blade on it. I tell patients, you need to ask where that come from. Because, you know, nobody talks about it. There's no person attached to it. See, CSP, we're the group of unseen people who deal with unseen things. We deal with the unseen bacteria. That it's our job to eradicate those instruments of that bacteria, and nobody sees us. Now, SPD, I have to make you understand something. Because you're unseen, you're not going to get the cookie package in SPD. You know, my team said the OR got cookies yesterday. Okay. All right. Well, we didn't get no cookies and we did the trail. Hold on. So, you know, I have to come in through the week, bring cookies and lollipops and stuff, because my team is just like, they had pizza again today in the OR. Dr. Jones bought the team pizza. We call it a team. You know, I got to go see Dr. Jones and say, you know, we call it the team, but you send a pizza downstairs. Because the team downstairs is excited. But what I have to make them understand, the reality is you're the unseen. And you're the unknown until it's bus throwing time. Don't nobody know nothing about you. We doing the case, the instruments are good, the OR is happy, they don't say nothing. Can't find that jigger-jew. SPD didn't put it in the tray. Who? Doctor says, what? SPD didn't put it in the tray. Now, OR, this is my point. You should have known you didn't have the jigger-jew before the doctor asked for it. All right? Then SPD could have got the jigger-jew up there. But you didn't know your job because you waited until the doctor said jigger-jew, and then you said jigger-jew, and then somebody else said jigger-jew, and then y'all all said SPD. So then they send for me. Come up here, because we had a jigger-jew. Okay. So I'm old school, and see, I'm all for change and evolution, but change has to be all around. So this is the second thing you learned from me today. If your SPD is not good, your OR is broken. Because we're a team, okay? So when you stand up with your chest out real big, SPD is terrible, then you're pointing this way. Look at all them fingers pointing back and say, oh, we're bad too. Because we're a team. I have found that if an SPD is bad, that OR doing some things they're not supposed to be doing. That's the reality of things. And you have to understand that we as a team have to stand together. You don't let Dr. Boo-Boo run through the team. You have to defend. In my hospital, we call it managing up. We don't manage down team members. We manage up all team members. We see it's kind of like a family. I can talk about my brother and call him a fish-eye fool, but you can't. Because that's my brother. Ain't that right? Yeah. Now, when you call him a fish-eye fool, I start looking crazy. I don't understand. So, as a team, when somebody says something bad about SPD, the OR has to stand and say, hold up, wait a minute. We did 62 cases yesterday and they was on, hold it, don't talk about my team. When someone says that OR, they're crazy, we have to say, hold up, wait a minute. I work with Jill in neurology and we're doing really good together. You have to manage each other up. And then you take care of the issues on the side. You do a sidebar. Yeah. But you don't ever let a doctor draw the divide between the teams because they have no loyalty. Just let me tell you that. The doctor will throw you under the bus. Oh, yeah. And I've seen some OR nurses just crying. Oh, they distraught. The doctor done laid them out. So understand. I say that because they send for me to come get laid out. I'll tell you about that later. So perceptions. Perceptions are insight, opinions, observations, experience. So I like Joan Rivers. Here we go. Joan Rivers, you say, can we talk? Can we talk about stuff? Perceptions. People have perceptions about sterile processing. One of them is that we work exclusively for the OR. Y'all know that's a perception. We work for the whole darn hospital. I got X-ray calling me, sleep lab calling me. I got departments I never heard of calling me. And anytime the Joint Commission is on its way, I hear from all of them. People are bringing back trays that's been missing for a year. Strange things in seal pills show up with dates on them from 2001. You say, where did this come from? I don't know. We were straightening up and we found it. Why did you have this? I don't know. But they're bringing everything back to the SPD because now it's my problem. They don't want it on in their department. So SPD works for everybody. I will say that my biggest customer is the OR. But you're not my only customer. I got other people at the door looking at me crazy too. You know, when I've got to do a salpingogram tray for x-ray, she don't understand why her tray wasn't done right either. It's not like it's like just the OR doesn't understand. Nobody understands when something isn't right. I work for Radiation Services, the Cancer Center. When we don't have that needle box ready and all those little things they got going on over there, they don't understand why we didn't do it. So SPD does not work for the OR exclusively. But you're the biggest part of the family. But this family is vast for us. CSP members are not as educated as the OR. Now, I know that years ago, can we talk about this? We was a little crazy. I will own that. That we came in off the street, and what we did in SPD is we brought people in off the street, a couple of folk out the kitchen that was washing dishes really good. And we brought them over to SPD and we said, look, come over here and wash some things. And after you wash them, we're going to show you how to wrap it up, package it up, and we're going to throw it in a machine. And the people said, okay. They came on over. But we've changed. See, you have to own the change. We learned that you just can't pull people in off the street to this because you got to know a whole lot of things. Now, one thing you all require us to do, team, is you want me to know the instruments. Somehow, the OR doesn't need to know them all. I do. Can we talk about this? I don't use none of them. I just put the package together. But you want me to know what the tenaculum is. And then I'm just going to talk about what I know at my little hospital. My people specialize. I have OR team members who say, I only do eyes. That means they don't want to talk about the general instrument. I got the bariatric team that says, I only do bariatrics. They don't want to talk about the eye instruments. And so when there's a problem, they don't know those instruments. The eye people only know the eye instruments. The general team knows the general instrument. The ortho people know the ortho instruments. Urology knows urology. Da Vinci, they know Da Vinci. But if you bring them together and say, what is this? They say, I don't know. But me, who you said is uneducated and don't know anything, you expect me to know them all. Now just think about this. They don't know nothing downstairs, but they know all the instruments. They don't know nothing downstairs, but they put all the trays together. They don't know nothing downstairs, but we sterilize it in some process. They don't know nothing downstairs, but we picture their case. They don't know nothing. So see, you know, they don't know nothing ain't working for me. I seem to know an awful lot. So let me tell you how much I know. If the kitchen didn't come in, we had a big storm come through Lowell, Massachusetts today, and it wipes out everything, and the kitchen staff calls into the hospital and people say, I can't make it, the house is flooding, I just can't come. You could take an SPD tech and say, go to the kitchen, put 1 scoop of soup in the bowl and 2 crackers. We could do that. Environmental services, they called in too. They said, we're not coming, I got problems at my house. You can tell SPD, bag the trash up, take it out to the gray bin, put it in there. We could do that. Follow me, this is gonna get deep. Patients are coming to the hospital because whatever happened requires that you do emergency surgery. So you got to get some things done. And so your CST techs, some of them didn't make it in. You could take an SPD tech, put them in a gown, glove and mask, say keep your hands above your waist, don't scratch your nose and pass me the gel pen. We could do that. You know why? Because on the back table, you need to know the instrument to pass on. Now, I didn't say they asked me to hold retractors, but you could turn me and say, hold the retract, don't move, don't move. And I could do that. SPD called in. It's just as quiet as it's going to be. And nobody can go to SPD and do a darn thing. That's the reality. So when you say they don't know anything, think about it. Hold up, wait a minute. Because if we said to the nurse, this is the reality, with your bachelor's science degree, MS, AORNMS behind your name, go down there and clean the Da Vinci instruments, you're going to be like, what? How? Where do I start? So we're not going to get much clean. Do you follow me here? And I've had OR come down, you know, on our slow days, if they don't want to go home early. They say, go down and help SPD. We don't really get a whole lot of takers. I don't know why. But the people don't come running down in a big flood. They run out the door going home. So we get some that come down, and they'll be putting a tray together, and they'll say, excuse me, what is this? And I'll say, what was it when you used it this morning? Call it that, put the tray together. So, SPD has to know the right name for the instrument. And the reason we put the right name on the pink ticket OR is because when we have to buy it, to replace it, the company doesn't know what a jigajoo is. You know what I'm saying? They don't know what that is. You know, I have the Hunter Curette. My doctor calls down. He says, I need that horseshoe. So the team takes like 10 minutes. What is a horseshoe? And it's someone who's usually there older that says he wants the large GYN Curette. Oh, he's calling it the horseshoe? Yeah. Kind of like Damien said earlier, you got to have that book of hum. Because they call things and they expect you not only to know the real name, we got to know the nickname. I have people that say, well, when I was in California, it was called a this. Okay, well, you're in Virginia now, and it's called. You're in Virginia, and in Virginia, we call it by the real name. It's the Hunter Curette. I have nurses, I have a tech that does plastic surgery. We have the mini infiltrator set. And she will call every Thursday for that set. And she will call it, you know, the set with the little tubes, the little suction, and the team is going, what? What? And I have to go up there every Thursday with the tray and say, I'm going to tell you one more time. As long as you don't say mini infiltrator, you're never going to get this set. Now, I have to say to her nurse in the room, if you would put it on your recipe for us picking the case, we could have the tray on the cup. I don't have time. Get some time. Because, you know, I'm just being real. Can we talk? I'm tired of coming up here every Thursday having a class. And it seems like it's not going through. But then I thought about, you know, it takes 21 days to learn a habit. And it's only 4 Thursdays in a month. CSP, SPD members are just washing dishes. Some of the most expensive dishes you'll ever see. I buy instruments that cost me $2,000 for one. We're not washing dishes. I'm very adamant when people say, oh, y'all just washing dishes anyway. No, I'm not. Because see, this is the difference. I raised 2 daughters. You can take a dish and have an egg on it. You know how they half wash. So when you look at the dish out the cabinet, still got egg on it. And you know, they just scrape the egg off and move on to the next meal. Right? And y'all know all that like, no, I don't do that. Yes, you do. Just scrape off the egg, move to the next meal. We can't do that in the field of surgery. That's not fair to our patient. And really, do you want me to give you an instrument with something on it that could fall into the surgical field that you didn't even see fall off? Because see, the patient came to you with a problem. That's why they're there. And they don't need to get any extra problems, as Sharon talked about, the surgical site infections. We don't need to be giving people issues. And in this day and time where we all say we don't get paid enough money, we don't need to pay for people to stay in the hospital longer because they got an infection because we gave a dirty instrument and something fell off into their surgical site. So no, we're not washing dishes. And we need the OR team to own that. And you have to own that when you're saying, ring, we need you to turn over the tray. Okay. Ring, have you turned it over yet? No. Ring, how much longer before you turn the tray? Ring, I'm calling from room 7. okay, but 6 people just called. Are you calling about the Synthes tray? Yes, when will it be ready? Well, I just told Lubu there was gonna be at least an hour. It's still an hour because I'm on the phone. If you all would stop calling me, I could start turning it over. Because OR team, let me tell you what happens. In SPD, we're human beings just like you. So when you call the first time, we happy, okay. When you call the second time, my frustration is building. When you call the third time, I'm now gonna move slow because I gotta talk about this. I gotta think this thing through. The OR has called me 3 times about turning over a tray. I can't even get away from the phone. Because you know, at my hospital, we have this rule that you must answer the phone on third ring. So we got to get it on third ring, and y'all say, where they at? They're not even in the department. I'm trying to turn over the tray, but anyway. So you keep calling, and now I'm frustrated. As a human being, I work slower and slower. So you could have had that tray in an hour. It's now moved to an hour and a half, because when I finally get through cleaning it correctly, and I go to put it through the window to the other team members, I got to have a conversation. You know, the OR called 10 times about the tray. They want us to turn this tray. So now we're not even doing that. We talking. And they do this all the time. I just don't understand. They already know that we have to turn the tray. They keep calling us. So finally they stop their conversation and they move, and the tray gets over to the pack and prep, and they got to talk some more. You know, the OR called us 3 times, 4 times about this tray. About that time the phone goes, ring. It's the OR. I'm just calling to check on how long on that tray. Well, it's about an hour because it's still sitting on the table. We don't tell you that part, but it'll be about an hour. So the bottom line is, as a team, you have to understand that the cleaning process cannot be rushed. We cannot clean fast. And I have nurses and techs that separate clean from dirty. And I had to go into this hospital and tell my team, we wash everything as if everybody got Ebola. So you got to wash every piece. And please do not get put into a false sense of security that the OR didn't use the instruments under the towel, because I'm here to tell you, you'll find blood on them. So don't, I'm glad that you separated a few of them, but I'm washing all of them. Because see, the next patient on the table could be me. I ain't playing with y'all. And you don't always check the back table, because you know that it's the reality. Can we talk? You're trying to get that coffee break in. I understand, because I'll be running upstairs with stuff. I'm like, where the team? They in the lounge. You know, SPD know how much time y'all spend in the lounge. I just want y'all to know that. Or I just want you to know the SPD knows how long you've been in the lounge, because, you know, we upstairs. They all in the lounge. Up there rushing me. I went down, they all sitting in the lounge. So we know. Okay, so we come running up and there's nobody there, because the big deal was not so much the turnover time, which is important, but everybody got to get their coffee, and some of my OR people got to watch a soap opera. They got to run in there and catch their part of soap opera. You know, pizza came, you had to go get your piece of pizza. I understand. But don't rush me, because I'm trying to do a quality job for my patient. See, the misnomer is that I don't have a patient. Yes, I do. I have the same patient you have. Because the instruments that are used on that patient, that's my responsibility. And a bone infection is directly correlated with contaminated instruments. We can't put that on nobody else except SPD. Now, you might not be able to catch us on some other things, statistics, but if it was a bone infection, you had contaminated instrumentation. And that means we didn't do something. So don't rush us and understand we're not washing dishes. SPD will do whatever you tell them to do. They used to be. We done got a little more intelligent. We're becoming professional. We're certified, we study, we learn. We do CEUs just like you. And you can't tell me just throw that in the sterilizer no more. That don't work. You know, I have my nurses bring me something and say, here, you can just throw this in the sterilizer. No, I can't. No, I have never seen this before. What is this? Well, this is the thing. We've been using it here for a long time. Okay. I'm going to have to go pull up an IFU. What? I got to go see what it is. Well, they just used it, put it in the pack, and run. We're not going to do that today. Today we're gonna try to find out what the real way to do it is. We were doing laser fibers at my hospital. And we were running them, I wanna say we're doing them when I came, they were doing them for 4 minutes. Just happy as they could be, just running them. Everybody was happy. And a few weeks ago, a new laser fiber came in. And I read the instructions for use. And it said it had to run for 10 in English. Imagine my surprise and my team when I said, excuse me. How long do we run this laser fiber? 4 minutes. No, baby. The paper said 10. And do you know what that means? That means that every laser fiber that's been used up to today was contaminated. It was not sterile. Are we really doing that to patients? So follow me. We have a lot of things to do, and we're not going to just do what we're told. I've had X-ray come bring me something. Could you sterilize this? I said, what is it? It's something we're using down in the X-ray department. Just put in, the last time I got it, they put it in the steroids, because people pick up words. Can it go in the steroid? That's how we do it here. That's the X-ray person telling me. So I have to say, we don't do it like that anymore. So they go off, they mad. I don't know who she thinks she is, because we've been putting it in, now she won't put it in the steroid. And you come to find out, I can't even sterilize it. Because the instructions for use for that particular item said it had to be ETO'd. I don't even have ETO. So I had to call them back and say, you know, not only will I not sterilize, I cannot sterilize it, and you need to find you another product. Come get this out of my department. And so then they're excited. So no, we no longer do just what you tell us, because we have recommended practices we follow, and we have IFUs that we're trying to follow, and we're trying to do the right thing for our patient. Some of you think we don't know instruments. We really do. We just have some bad days. I'm just going to say that. I'm going to own it. Yes, sometimes my team does crazy stuff. I took a picture the other day of a tray that went upstairs with a knife handle with blades still attached. The OR fell out. When I say they fell out, that room was, everybody was on the floor. Can't believe y'all set this up like this. So we do Quantros. You know, we have to put it in the official reporting system. And so the OR done took pictures, they took lots of pictures. And they said, we're going to have to report this. And I said, I own it. We wrong. I said, but I'm going to have to go over here and put y'all in Quantros. They said, why? How do you think I got a blade? So what I said, my team thought you wanted to still attach to the handle. You sent it down like that. So now I got a question for you, OR. How was your count correct if I got a blade? That's one. Here goes number 2. The moment I get cut, it's over. I'm going to have some PTSD, Q and R. I'm not going to be able to work no more. I'm going to think I got some bad diseases if I don't. And all your I'm sorry's ain't going to work for me. See, because a lot of hospitals are not able to track the tray to the case, we're not going to know what patient it came from. And, well, you know, and this is the story. Here go my CS text. I wasn't in the room when it came out. See, I was relieved and I was going to the bathroom. And Lucy, she did, it must be Lucy did the back table. I didn't do the back table because when I was counting, everything was there. Okay. But my point is, for that write-up, we decided we would talk about it as a team. We weren't going to write up nothing because we had to write up everybody. Because we don't get blades and needles attached to needle holders if you don't send them. Now, we should not send them back. So I told my team, I said, y'all really not cleaning well because you didn't get this blade off, this knife handle, but the bottom line is, do you realize that you could have cut yourself severely? So, you know, be careful for the team. Because if the SPD is all out because they've been stuck and cut, y'all gonna have to go down there and learn how to do the SPD. Because, you know, we all gonna be in the psychiatrist's office explaining why we can't work there no more. You know, that's the reality. The one that we've said for years, that I'm not downstairs in the basement, but for years SPD was in the basement, and they say, you know, I'm stupid. They said SPD, and y'all look at that like y'all don't know. SPD stood for stupid people downstairs. Okay? So we gotta stop that. Because if you calling me stupid, I'm gonna start acting stupid. So when you get something and it is twisted and not done right, maybe it's because I'm acting what you told me. They tell you that you shouldn't tell a child that they're stupid or whatever, because they will become that. People become what they hear. So you've been calling me stupid downstairs, and I mean, they still, some of them still saying they crossed the hall. I'm like, you weren't stupid. They're not downstairs. They're right there. You know. I'm on the first floor. There is no basement in the hospital that I'm in. And I will say that my OR team, as we have evolved, I've been there 3 years, they've kind of taken to us, and we're going to see some strategies as to why. But they stopped that because it's not fair and it's not nice. And it builds up animosity. And I'm not going to do anything good or fast for you when I know you're calling me stupid. So we're not the stupid people downstairs. We may not be as knowledgeable as you want us to be on that particular item, but the way you fix that OR is you come downstairs, spend some time with us, and show us what we need to know. You know, we like education, and I'm going to tell you a little secret. If you spend some time with your SPD team members, they'll do anything they can for you. What I mean is that if you're over the ortho specialty, and you come down and you show them how to put that total knee retractor together, and you say, the reason I need these Holmans is because when the doctor is doing this, if he doesn't have this Holman, he can't work. Those people will respect you for that, and you know what? You will always have your Holmans in your tray. Now, the eye people got to come for themselves. You can't come and represent the whole OR. But they will get your items right because they feel like you have vested some time into them and they want to make you happy. We do not wake up every day in SPD and say, let's see how we can piss OR off today. Let us first start by putting holes in the vendor tray. Because I don't have nothing to do and I thought I'd like to rewrap them trays all over again. Really? We don't put holes in trays. Holes are done by handling, and it's handled not just by us. If it was just handled by us, you could put it on us. But at my hospital, I see some of everybody with the tray. I saw a doctor with one in his hand one day. I said, what you doing? He said, I'm trying to help them get my case open. Put the tray down. Put the tray down. Because when it has a hole in it later, you're not going to remember you touched it. And y'all going to be saying, SPD? No. I've seen people take a tray that is kind of heavy, and you know, my trays are 25 pounds, and it's kind of heavy, and drop it on a ring stand. Automatic slip. Then they say, oh, got a hole. Yeah, you dropped it on the ring stand. Well, we go, oh, it's going to hold up the case. You're absolutely right. It's going to hold up the case. I'm glad I saw you drop it because I'm going to be over here as we go under the bus. We all going. You yell SPD, I'm going to tell them what really happened. So I'm going to throw you under there with you. But the bottom line is in handling. So no, we don't wake up every day and want to do things just wrong. We want to do our job right, too, T-O-O. And the misnomer, the perception that we don't do patient care. We just don't do immediate touch, one-on-one, cozy, rosy patient care. I don't get to pat the patient on the shoulder and say, Miss Jones, it's going to be all right. I'm your Nurse Lucy. So she goes to sleep, all she heard was Nurse Lucy. So when she wake up, she said, I had a good outcome. Nurse Lucy was really good. She don't know if you was good or not. She just know you the last thing she heard. So we do patient care. We're just the unseen patient care members. My other good friend that I like to watch, Ellen DeGeneres, talk about some things. I'm not going to dance, but she dances all the time. Communication, collaboration, here we go. SPDR, this is what we can do. Now I'm old. I'm going to tell you I'm old. I'm proud of this because I'm going to be 60 in a few weeks. Working in SPD didn't kill me, so I'm gonna get a badge or something. We should all know our cases for the coming day. Now, those of you, my OR nurses and my techs that are in my generation, we used to look at a case before we went home. We see where we were going to be posted the next day. Oh, I'm in room 6. We got 2 hips and a knee. And you look and see what you needed. The DePuy trays, striker, I'm going to need this, that. And you knew that before you went home today. SPD has to do the same thing. Tomorrow, we got 2 knees and a hip in that room. There's a striker, 2 strikers and a DePuy, those instruments here. They're not here, we need to track them down, call the vendor, get them in. We need to do that as a team. Then tomorrow morning, we're not all looking shocked at 7:30 when they say, where are the instruments? And we say, where are the instruments? No, it's like an echo. Because the person getting the short end of that stick, people, is the patient. When we finally realized that they didn't come in, the patient got the short end of that stick. Because you got to go tell the patient, Miss Jones, we're not going to do your case. Now, you don't know what the doctor tells him, but I'm going to tell you what he tells him. SPD didn't do the trays. We're working on getting that situation fixed, but we're going to have to do you another day. Now, how does he know SPD didn't do the trays? Because when he came in and the OR said, oh, we can't do the case, Dr. Boo. Why? SPD didn't do the trays. They don't have the trays. SPD don't have the trays. But we're not the only ones that should have known where the trays were. The team should have known. Now, I will tell you that in my hospital, we send posting slips to the OR every day that says what vendor trays are in the house. It says what case it's for. The ortho specialist, her job is to pick them sheets up and check them off against her cases for the next day. Because at that point, we have time to get those trays in for that patient. Because let me tell you, from the patient's perspective, when I get myself together mentally for a major surgery, I don't want to hear nothing about y'all don't have no trays. Because see, I'm in a zone here. I've set myself up mentally to go in and have my knee replaced. I've already seen 6 weeks down the road where I'm going to be, how I'm going to be walking. I'm already ready for the pain of that surgery. And then you come tell me it's cancer? I don't have good things to say about you or your hospital. Because that's what the patient sees. And it's not fair. So knowing the instruments, knowing what you need for the coming day, know what your case is about for the coming day. I say that knowledge is power. The more you know, the better prepared you are for your job as a firefighter. We're all firefighters, am I right? OR nurses, y'all run around putting out a fire. I'm downstairs, I'm putting out a fire. Because that's what we're doing when we're running around trying to get something done for a patient. There's nothing more frustrating for me to know that a patient is on the OR table, open, and someone just called and asked me, we need a Maryland dissector. Really? Okay. When does your case start? It's already started. The patient's on the table. Really? You started the case without the Maryland? And not only that, and I'm just saying, I'm just talking, can we talk? I've had nurses put the patient on the table and they said, we don't have no instruments. What do you mean you don't have no instruments? I'm saying, how did the patient get on the table? Now they mad because I asked that question. How did your patient, you're the patient advocate, get on the table with no instruments?
That's right.
So let me go back. Let me go back to where I started. You don't work for them either. You work for the patient. And nurse, you are the patient advocate. You're my eyes and my soul while I'm going to sleep. So your job is to say, hold up. And I've seen some battle axe nurses say, hold up, hold up. Because I'm old school and I was taught the nurse was in charge of the room. Now I understand that anesthesia thinks they in charge. And you have to make them think they're in charge, but you are the patient advocate. And for me, you're the one that allowed me to be drugged in there and put on the table, and you didn't see no instruments. So, okay, so you got me to the room. What you can stop, while anesthesia's running around at the top of the head. Hold up, we're not moving Miss Jones over to the bed because I noticed there's no instruments in here. We're not gonna be able to work without instruments unless y'all just doing like a prayer thing. We need to find the instruments because it's in the best interest of the patient. Knowledge is power. You have to know what you know because now we've got a fire going on, a big fire. Because, and the bad thing is that as a team, sometimes team members you don't want us to ask no questions. You gotta allow me to ask a question. You just want me to act. I gotta ask the question because I just can't believe that you're asking not just for one trade, but all the trades. You don't have nothing. And so now I'm doing research. We picked the case. It had all the instruments on it. But you know, in my OR, they steal instruments from each other all day long. So it did have it, but it went somewhere else. I've even had rooms to hoard instruments. I'm like, you didn't buy these instruments. I got to go and drag instruments, and then I have a knockdown drag out to get the tray out of the room. You're not using it. We might use it. We ain't working on mics. Give me that tray. We're gonna use it next up. So, you know, firefighters. The surgical team must work as a unit. Talk about what's needed. So you've opened up, as Damien said this morning, you've opened up that general surgery tray 5,000 times, and now the Dr. Booty Boo, he needs 2 accent forces. Call downstairs and tell me to add another accent. Don't keep opening up 2 general trays. Because that's more work for me. Really? Would you want me to do that to you? Do you know you got a tray with 150 instruments and you opened it up to get 1 accent and we got 50 of them in a pill pack? I put all kinds of things in pill packs. Because my philosophy is, if it is sterile, you can use it. And we'll talk about why it wasn't on the tray later. But you can keep moving. See, I don't want a patient to get any more anesthesia than they need. I've been the patient. I don't do well under anesthesia. So I don't need to stand there now 1 minute at $90 longer than I needed to. I don't need y'all running around looking for instruments at $90 a minute. I told you downstairs in SPD, we mad, so we moving slow. Gonna take us 5 minutes at $90 to even show up upstairs. That's if we show up. If we sit it on the doorway, it's gonna take you 5 minutes to realize we're not bringing it before you go to get it. Well, I don't know where the instrument is. Call down, ring. Where's that instrument I asked for? It's on the doorway. It's been there for 5 minutes. It's not fair to the patient, people. We work for the patient. SPD. You need to get to know, and it's vice versa, the nurses, the CST, the surgical first assistant, anesthesia, and the OR clean team. We should all know each other. Because see, what I find is that when you don't know who I am, you can talk to me any kind of way and do whatever. But when we've had a face-to-face encounter, you ain't hardly gonna call me on the phone and say something crazy and slam it down. Because you know I'm coming. You know I'm gonna come visit you in a few minutes. Not only are you gonna get the accent, you're gonna get personal attention. But if we know, I found that when we know one another, we treat one another differently. See, when you call down and I say SPD Golden, you say, hey Golden, this is Susie. I need the so-and-so in room 6. You're gonna get a better response out of me. Then, hey, I need the so-and-so Clint, before I can even say, wait a minute, where you at? Who are you? You know, respect between human beings gets more. You say you can get more flies with honey than with vinegar. And you won't have to go to the elevator to get your instrument because you know what? I'm going to bring it to you. And for my team, where we're getting is that we will come to the room because they're no longer traumatized. They're no longer scared to come into the room. They no longer feel like you're going to talk to them like they're some dog or animal, or even less. They're going to come to the room and bring you the instrument. And I've taught my team, as Damien was saying, I've taught my team to come in, and they'll come in and say, hey, here's the instrument. If it's a tray, they've been taught how to aseptically and correctly open a tray. They'll stay in the room and help you. They're going to check that wrapper for holes. They're going to do whatever they need to do. And then they're going to stop before they leave, and they're going to say, do you all need anything else? Is there anything else I can do for you while I'm here? That's what they're going to do for you. But it's all about relationship. We ain't got to go to dinner and lunch together. We're just being humanly respectful one to the other. And you'll get a better response out of your SPD team. Because see, as I get young SPD technicians in, what I'm teaching them is you learn the basic instruments now and how to care for them, how to put them together. And your next step as you go through the ranks of sterile processing is if you can take open surgery or closed surgery, as more surgeries becoming minimally invasive, then maybe you want to be a CST. Maybe you want to be a surgical first assistant. Maybe you want to be Dr. Maurer in 12 years. But it starts somewhere. So I need for you to work with me and not treat me like I'm nobody, because I am somebody. I'm the person between you and the accident that you need, because you didn't want to run downstairs to get it. So treat me with that respect. I advocate managers of SPD, especially supervisors, team leaders, that you get to know the physicians. And I say that because I know my physicians. I go to the room. I spend time. I meet them one-on-one. Because physicians have a tendency to be bullies. Because, you know, somewhere in that class in medical school about being God, they thought they was God. And that's what they think when they're in a crowd. I'm God. But I found that if you pull God to the side by himself, he realizes he's a man or a woman. And they can talk intelligently to you. And I've asked doctors, what is it you really, really need to do what you have to do? And you know, they have some thoughts. And then sometimes they'll tell me their misconceptions. I've had doctors tell me, well, see, the reason why I think y'all don't know what you're doing in SPD is because, you know, one time 15 years ago, I asked for the spoon and they sent me a fork. And I said, when was this? 15 years ago. I said, could you let that go? Could you let that go? All those people dead. They're not even here no more. So you're holding me to something that happened 15 years ago? Have you had a fork when you wanted a spoon in the last week? Well, no. Okay, let's go from there. So going from last week, we're going to go forward, and you let me know the next time we send you a fork when you ask for a spoon. And then you find that these same doctors, eventually, as they realize that you know what you're doing, then they're more apt to pour into your spirit things that they think they need. And you're able to tell them, I know you want that $5,000 instrument, but I'm just going to tell you on the down low between me and you, because, you know, I'm on the bottom of the totem pole. You're not going to get it. Because, you know, they said they're not buying nothing. I'm just telling you. It was between me and you, I'll be back. It's not my decision. So meet the physicians. I had a physician that actually got an instrument one day. He got it was contaminated. Well, it wasn't contaminated. It wasn't working right. So I'm going to tell you it was a book Walter. And you know, the book Walter is directional. Y'all know that, right? You only can put the blade in going one way for it to ratchet. You can put it in the other way, but it won't ratchet. So the whole team is crazy up there. And they were putting it in backwards. And not only were they putting it in backwards, they didn't realize it was malleable, meaning you can bend it whichever way you wanted to go. So he was frustrated for the last time. He called the SPD team leader up. She went to the room, and he said, this doesn't work. And he just, oh, he was screaming and yelling. He took the blade and threw it at her. Contaminated with blood on it. It didn't hit her, but it hit down at her foot. So when I came in, she said, the doctor threw the instrument, hit me in the foot. I told him one-on-one, Dr. Adams, you can't be throwing instruments at people no more in America because it's called simple assault. Number 2, people crazy, Dr. Adams. She may be waiting on you in the parking lot. I said, gone are the days of throwing stuff at people. I said, people nowadays wait on you in the parking lot with their gun. I said, now she gonna do 23 to life, but you gonna be dead. So my advice is don't throw nothing. And then he looked at me like a light bulb. I said, now you did it to the right person, because had you thrown it at me, it would have hit me, I'd have fell out on the floor, they would have had to get the psychiatrist, I couldn't go to work no more, and you be writing me a check for life. I'm just telling you. Don't throw nothing at my people, because that's how far we going with it. We're going to be in court. You know, and he has kind of changed over the 3 years. He's not as rough as he was. He used to break instruments that didn't come to him and work right. He would physically break them. I said, you can't be breaking the instruments. You ain't bought nothing. It's not my money, but you know, I'm trying to get more money in my check to go home, and I can't get no money if you breaking the instruments, and I got to keep replacing them. I need you to stop. So he has changed. And we try to have his trays corrected. We have extra instruments, and he understands we're trying. And he has changed, and he goes to other hospitals and acts crazy. And now he'll say, well, it doesn't happen over at DePaul. So, you know, now he throws us under the bus that we're doing something and other people aren't. But get to know your physicians. Because then they realize that when people say SPD, they'll realize that that's a department, but there are real people in there. And they'll say, ask Miss Golden to come see me. Ask Joe to come see me. That's the reality. I believe that we should in SPD have SPD specialists, instrument specialists. I think that you should have SPD senior techs who really like certain specialties to be the specialist over a set of instruments, a specialty. So that when the ortho team has problems, you send your ortho specialists up to work with them to get that fixed. When the bariatric team has problems, you send your bariatric specialist to take, and everybody respects each other because they get the SPD person that does those trays all the time, knows those instruments, and when they say, well, you know, the instrument has this piece on it, they understand. And now we're working more as a team. I have instrument specialists in my hospital, and it's working for us. Because now, when they want to do something or they want to change a tray, they call down and say, send Mary, I got a thought about the eye tray. We can take some instruments off the eye tray. We're always happy, OR, to take instruments off. Let me just tell you that. Please, we like taking them off. Because really, after 10, it's like bad. When you get to 150 instruments and y'all using the same 6, please. Can we take them off? Can you let that go? I know back 20 years ago you needed all of them, but you don't need them all no more. And what happens is we're creatures of reaction. We react. We didn't have 4 Atsons one day, so we want 4 in the tray. Well, you only needed 4 that day because you dropped 3. Routinely, you're really good at what you do and you don't drop none. So let us go back to 1 in the tray and we'll have some in COP. We can work those things out. I believe that SPD has to come to the OR and spend time in the case, y'all. That's just the reality. You cannot expect me to understand what you're doing with the Durham, Maryland, if you don't let me see a case being done. And that's up to, that helps when the nurses and the techs say yes, send them up. And I've had some very good techs and surgical first assistants who have literally taught my team member how to do the case. And the doctors have a tendency to buy into it too. Because they all understand, if I know why you really need a Maryland to do a laparoscopic case, you're going to get your Maryland every time. You're going to get it because I understand now why it is so important. So that's something we can do to help collaborate together. OR team members should come to SPD. For those of you who think we don't do nothing. Because I've heard that. Y'all ain't doing nothing down there nowhere. Come down here and walk a day in my shoes. Let me show you what nothing looks like. Let me show you what it looks like when I'm trying to get your trays done and the washer acts up and I have a flood over here. I can't stop cleaning instruments because it's flooded. You know that, right? We have to still work. So you got some members trying to get the water up, one member trying to wash the tray. We're still trying to work. We have fires within our own department. Come down to SPD. I'm in a 100-year-old hospital when I'm in a decontam all wrapped up in PPE and the temperature is 99 degrees and I'm about to pass out and you keep calling me on the phone telling me how long with the instrument. I don't know because I'm getting ready to take this stuff off and go stand in the hall. So no, we're doing something down there. You need to come down and see what we do. You need to come down and follow your tray down one day and see how it came down. Because see, my OR tells me all the time, yeah, we spraying and we do. I'm like, really? You sprayed this? And I'm not a commercial. I'm using Ruhoff's Prep Zyme. That does really, really good. You didn't spray this. Because, no. Yeah, I did. No. No. You might have meant to. You intended to. Your hand and the bottle didn't actually meet. That's the reality. Because this thing is sprayed. Do you see how this tray is looking, really? You threw the instruments back in like it's a war? I've gotten instruments, it's usually from L&D, that look like they had a murder. You be like, did y'all, is the patient alive? All the blood stuff that I have, did y'all kill that patient? Because see, I don't understand, and y'all help me CST, surgical first assistant, y'all help me because I've been to the meeting. You all are taught to do point of use cleaning. Now, I'm confused. When my tray looks like there was no use cleaning. Not only was there no point of use, you didn't even try. So, you're supposed to wipe off gross soil, am I right? Well, it's not happening. So I'm just telling you, it's not just in my hospital, it's not happening. But if each one that has that responsibility that's in this room today would go back and just do your set, it'd be so much better for your SPD. See, we got to try to clean this stuff. Really, you want me to clean it? You want it back soon? You can't get it soon. I work for a Catholic hospital. I got to pray over this a little while. You know, in my hospital, we have prayer every morning, some scriptures and everything, so we don't go around killing each other so bad. So they pray at 8 o'clock. We pray again about 2 o'clock. We have lots of prayer going on. So I got to pray over this tray that I've got to now soak because you threw it in just any kind of way and you did no point of use cleaning. Let me tell you, the Joint Commission, because most of our policies say that we do point of use cleaning, the Joint Commission, if they do a tracer and they trace your case to the SPD and they go down and they say, is this the case from 7:30 and it hasn't been point of use cleaned and or sprayed, that's an RFI. They don't talk about it because they pull your policy and it says that's what you do. Now they already know that's not what you do because they watched you in the room not do it. But by some miracle, when they went one way, you did a lot of wiping and spraying the other way. It could have came down looking a certain way. So if your policy says you do point of use cleaning, team, please do point of use cleaning. It is a bone of contention with the Joint Commission. Share the suggestions for making the trays easier both ways. We've called up and talked to our OR specialists call up and say, listen, we've noticed that you all don't use this instrument. Can we take it off and put it in seal here? And usually the OR team says, well, yeah, because we don't use it. Only Dr. So-and-so uses it. He don't even come here no more. You know, we got together with my team and we took names off the trays because none of the doctors bought any trays. So we took their names off. And we told them, as soon as you buy some instruments, we will put your name on. But until then, this is the so-and-so general tray because anybody can use it. This is not your tray. You know, because it gives doctors ownership. And that gives their room ownership. Give me Dr. Cohen's tray. Then that's why they're hoarding it over in the corner, watching it. Can't nobody use it but Dr. Cohen. That's not true. He didn't buy no instruments. You know, Dr. Vincent decided he wanted to try it today. That's Dr. Cohen's tray. No, it's not. So what I found is that if I just called it the bipolar forceps, everybody could use it. That's something we used to do because we were told to do it. But if you have that autonomy in your SPD and the group working together as a team, you all need to take names off trays and call them by what is the service or what it's going to be used for. You know, I've had trays that come in and the doctor, I have the Bright Track retractors. They want to call it Dr. Lee's tray. How is anybody going to know that's the Bright Track retractors? Why aren't we calling it Bright Track retractors? And that's what we call it. So when they say, where's the Bright Track retractors, we can find it. I'm not going to find it under Dr. Lee. So it's just a thought. Get together and work together. Find processes that can be improved and work on that with your surgical team. Infection control, I already said, come to SPD, come to SPD, come to SPD. Have learning forums. We have several meetings a year where OR and SPD have in-services together. We have it usually 8 o'clock day is on Thursdays, and we take a Thursday out of quarter, and we all go to the one big auditorium, and we sit in there and we talk about what we have to talk about. We learn whatever it is we have to learn. Talk to each other, not at one another. You're not going to get far talking at me or talking down to me. I'm not going to accept it. I'm not going to react very well. Both of us, there's the OR committee. SPD should be part of the OR committee. We're the ones with the instruments that they're complaining about. Why aren't I at the meeting? Infection control committee. You're supposed to be part of the infection control committee. They're going to talk about SSI. You need to have me there. You can't talk about what you think I'm doing. Let me come and tell you what I am doing. Those are things that we can do under our communication and collaboration. Wendy Williams, I like her because she always telling you stuff that's either wrong or right. She just a gossip monger. And you know, between the three groups, we do a lot of gossiping. You know, we don't always tell the story the way it really did happen. You know, we tell the part that we thought made us look good. That's the side you hear from me. Then you go up and you get the other side from the other side, and they telling the side that looks good to them. You have to be able to be a detective to put it together to find out what really happened. What really happened in this situation? Because everyone's only going to show you their good side. Nobody's going to tell you that. Very few people come and report themselves. Now, I travel a lot, and my team members are told, when I get ready to leave, I just got back from China on Monday, and as I left, I told my team, I said, listen, everybody be good. Do what you're supposed to do. Remember that you work for the patient. Then I wrote an email to everybody. And at the bottom I said, when I come back, be ready to report on yourself. Because what I found is that when you come to tell me what you did bad, I don't get a whole lot of people in the office. But before, folks was coming reporting other people. Let me tell you what Lucy did. Let me tell you what John did. I mean, they could report. I said, well, no, you just come tell me what you did. Lucy gonna tell me what she did, and I'm gonna put the whole story together and find out that y'all didn't do nothing. But don't come tell on nobody else. Or if you're gonna tell on somebody, bring Lucy with you. That's just how I deal. I don't want the he say, she said. Bring Lucy so she can hear what you get ready to tell me. Because when I repeat it to Lucy, it's hearsay. So if she's sitting there, she can say, that's not what happened. Well, and then some things you won't say when you're looking at me in my face. That lie you was getting ready to tell, you won't tell that one. Because you know that's not going to be a good thing. So, remember, the ultimate goal is to have our patients come into the surgical suite and leave with great outcomes. That's our ultimate goal. With communication, collaboration, strategies, our goal is to have the patient have a great outcome. We want patients to get in, get out, no surgical site infection due to anything we, the peri-op team, did. And I say that because all surgical site infections have nothing always to do with us. We can't control the nurses on the floor, the doctor that's checking the wound didn't wash his hands. You know, we are empowering patients nowadays to be able to tell people, don't touch me. You didn't wash your hands. Did you wash your hands? You can ask that legally of anybody. I had my total joint replaced when my little doctor came bopping in. He said, Sharon, I'm gonna check your wound. I said, no, you're not. He said, Sharon, I'm just going, no, you're not. I'll check it. What you want to know? You didn't wash your hands. No, I'm gonna need you to wash your hands so I can hear you, see you. Get the phone over there. Check my wound. We're empowering patients to understand that they contribute to surgical site infection because if they don't do what they're told to do, they could get a surgical site infection. Doctor told you don't get in the shower and you in the shower with a bag wrapped around your leg. And your wound got wet and it didn't really dry and then you scratched it and now you got an infection and now the hospital has to pay. You understand? So when we pay, that's money that could have gone into, I feel, could have gone into my check and my team. We're not getting that money because we're paying for you to stay in the hospital. So surgical site infections are not just due to peri-op, but we want to be sure that we had nothing to do with it. I want to be sure, I'm very happy when we have a surgical site infection to be able to pull the records and say, we didn't do no, IUSS, not no. And I can track this tray before and after the surgical case. The same tray was used on this patient, this patient, this patient, there's no infections. And so as we go through to find out how that patient could have gotten an infection, we can weed out that the peri-op team did everything they were supposed to do to make it right. Our job is to prevent SSIs. That's part of the job. We're all patient advocates, and we all work for the patient. I have the one little brief story that I will tell you as I get ready to close here. I had the opportunity to meet a young lady via a seminar I went to. She played softball for a prominent college. Healthy young lady. And she went out and she hit the ball, and as I remember the story, she rounded first, she rounded second, she slid into third, she broke her leg. Shouldn't be a big problem, she's a young woman. Took her to the hospital, pulled out that Cynthia's trauma set, worked it out. Weeks later, she had an infection. Brought her back, did an IND, put her on antibiotics. She didn't get better. They had to bring her back some more, change the antibiotics. Long story short, she had to have her leg amputated. She's 20 years old playing softball. When they finally got through with the actual investigation, she had a bone infection. Bone infection is contaminated instrumentation. She travels around the country today teaching why it's important that we as a peri-op team do our job correctly. Why we pay attention to what we're doing. See, pay attention goes both ways. You know, when you're doing some cases, you have sometimes, for instance, a mallet that still has cement on it. Well, bacteria can live up under the cement on the mallet. And the cement could fall off into the patient's surgical site during the next case. You didn't see it happen. Their immune system was already compromised, therefore their body couldn't fight it off. So here we have an issue. So she travels around with a bag of legs today because she runs, so she has a running leg. She has two running legs. She has a running leg, a sprinting leg. She has her leg for dress up and then her regular leg. So when she gets on the plane, where I get on with my one little roll on, she gets on with a bag of legs because somebody didn't do their job correctly. Somebody in the team. We cannot afford not to do our jobs correctly because the life we impact is the patient. You see, you are the patient advocate. And if you don't want to do your job correctly, be you the OR nurse, the OR tech, the OR surgical first assistant, the infection control nurse, or the SPD group in whole, you need to get out. because you're harming people. And the bottom line is, no, we didn't raise our hand up and take an oath, but the bottom line is we are to do no harm. And SPD, they don't get the opportunity to come visit you and say, thank you very much for not doing a good job. I've been sick an extra 6 weeks. Because you are the unseen, doing the unseen. So you have to do your job every day to the best of your ability, whether you get a cookie, a lollipop, or nobody remembers your name. You be secure in who you are and do what you're supposed to do. I don't care if a pizza don't ever come to SPD. I work and try to motivate and stimulate my team every day to do what's right. No, we don't get paid what we should get paid, but we took the job. So we need to do the job. And work on getting paid more on the other side. Do what you gotta do it right every day, because let me tell you, the patient that the tray could be used on is you. Your mom, your child. Think about it, OR team. Would you want anyone to pull your mama into the room, put them on the table without any instruments? You would go ballistic. So how can you do it to a patient? We all have a vested interest as a team to work together, and that's what we're supposed to do. It isn't always pretty, and it isn't always bad. But if we work together, we can have more good days than we have bad days. This is me, so I thought I should be a TV host or comedian. So I put my own picture up there. This happens to be me at the Golden Temple in Japan. So that's my spiel for Can We Talk. Anybody got any questions for me? Because I can handle them.